Now, Chamberlain, thank you very much for this question. I want to read Section 20 of this law to allay the fears of Makaban. They have been saying that the law is out to chase them. But the Benue State government has repeatedly said this law is out to protect everyone. Now, Section 20 says, any person or persons who rustle cattle or other animals from any ranch commits an offense and shall be liable on conviction for imprisonment for a term of not less than 3 years or 100,000 naira per animal or boss. That's sub 1. And sub 2 says, whereas a rustler injures or maims any person while carrying out his activities, he shall on conviction be liable to 5 years imprisonment or 500,000 naira only or boss. Now, when someone says the law is out to chase them or not to protect them, that is the provision of the law. Now, there are many more in that law that protect, many more provisions that protect cattle breeders. So this law is already wearing a human face, as Governor Samuel Otom said. Chamberlain remembered that before the government came up with this solution, there were killings in Benue. Between 2012 and 2016, Benue State lost property worth 95 billion naira, and hundreds of lives were destroyed. Lives were lost in the invasion of communities by herdsmen, armed herdsmen carrying AK-47. Now Benue was becoming a war zone. Successive governments were looking for solutions. Now Governor Samuel Otom came and said, look, the only way we can stop this is to enact a law that will bring herdsmen and farmers to the same table. This one will do his business this way, this one will do his business this way, and there will be peace. Remember, Chamberlain, that Nigeria is not one of is not on the list of 100 beef-producing nations. And you ask me why, and I will tell you. It is because we don't do it the way other countries do. The USA is the largest country, I mean, the country that produces the largest amount of beef, followed by Brazil. Okay, and if you talk about milk, India leads the list, producing millions of tons of milk. Let me
again come in. I hate to always do this, but we have to just take those questions in. Whatever part of what they also raise is, when they speak about, they are of the impression that there are national grazing routes which traverse some parts of Benue, crisscross perhaps, parts of Benue into other states. Now, the impression they have is, what happens if they're coming from one part of the country moving to another, and they've got to go through Benue, and then Benue has this law? They think that goes against that national grazing route. Much as, yes, you may have the law, but what is being done to address that particular concern?
Thank you very much, Chamberlain, for this particular question. The law that is prohibiting open grazing in Benue and encouraging ranching does not stop the movement of cattle. This is one point that we must stress. The law encourages the movement of cattle, but not by foot. That's the only difference. The law says move your cattle by either rail or trucks or wagon, as the case may be. But don't, from November 1, don't move your cattle by land. I mean, by foot. Don't graze them. Don't graze them in open fields. Don't move them from one place to another, using sticks or as the case may be. Don't move them in people's farms. If you want to move cattle from, say, Agatu to Kwande, or from Boko to Gwe East or Gwe West, please, in obeying this law, take your cattle by a vehicle. You can move them by a truck.
We need to go to break. We'll be back and let you conclude on that particular line of thought in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Our concluding moments now with Teva Kesa, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State. Well, just before we went to break, we were speaking about certain concerns they have, and that was that is there anything going to be done about further disseminating and explaining to people that some of the concerns that they've raised are taken care of in that law, either by way of a committee or setting up any group to look at their concerns or review the law? Is there any such thing? Should we expect it afterwards?
Yes, Chamberlain, yes. A lot has already been done to, sensitization began even before this law was made, and it has continued. I am here as part of that sensitization, and many more will be done in the days to come. The governor and the Benue State Executive Council has put in place an advisory committee. And this committee is headed by no other person than the advisor to the governor on security, Colonel Edwin Jando. He and his team are advising the government on the right steps to take. And the committees have been set up in all local government areas of Benue State to ensure not only sensitization, but to guide the people, both the host communities and those who may wish to establish ranches in their communities. And the government has identified places in local government areas of this state. About 6 pilot ranches are being established as I speak to you. This is to show the people the way to go. Because Nigeria and Benue State, Nigeria has to take the lead in Africa in terms of ranching to produce more milk and beef. So a lot is being done in Benue State to sensitize the people.
The governor requested for security from the chief, while the chief of army staff was there. Could you tell us in 60 seconds or less, what is the response you have from security operatives?
Yes, the government of Benue State believes in the capacity of the security agencies of this country. And the governor has said it repeatedly that he is not going to use unconventional means to implement the law. He's going to use conventional means, and that means using the security agencies of this country. That committee that I talked about, the Nigerian police has a representative, the civil defense has a representative, the DSS has a representative, and other recognized institutions have representatives, as well as the Nigerian Bar Association. So this is to say that this law is the law of the people, and the right thing is to be done. So security agencies are the ones who are going to help the government to implement this law. The governor and the government do not believe in unconventional means. So the fears as expressed by Makaban, by Mieti Alak Cattle Breeders Association, should not be there, because no one is going to be harassed in Benue State.
All right,
Benue State is home for all.
Thank you very much indeed. We get your point, Teva Akasa, the Chief Press Secretary to the Benue State Governor, speaking about that Benue anti-open grazing law. Well, that's the show today, and that's where we anchor. We thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
I hope the law works for the people of Benue State and the cattle breeders themselves, because this is turning out to be maybe...
bloodbath.
We don't want any of that anymore. That's it, the show. Thanks for watching. I'm Gimba Omar.
Thank you for watching. I'm Govt Aide.